Thanks for logging on to Wayne.com for our final edition of Inside the Zone for this Komets hockey season. As always, Blake Sebring joining me, and I wish we were still talking Komets hockey through the end of May, but unfortunately the Komets knocked out in the second round of the playoffs. You know, we kind of hashed that out last week, so we're going to talk about what the Komets can do looking forward to this offseason. And before we get into players and some of the decisions and tough decisions they're definitely going to have to make, in talking with Michael Franke, he doesn't expect the CHL to look exactly the same next year as opposed to this past season.
I don't think you're ever going to see a league that's going to look the same from year to year for the next 10. I just think that's the model of minor league hockey right now.
And what are some of the teams that you think may not be in the CHL next year? I know Odessa's name has been thrown out there. I know other people might be interested in Colorado, the way that they draw and the success that they've had. Where are some of the teams that you think might be moving?
The thing of it is, it's so hard to say because what people are not keeping in mind are these leagues have very, very restrictive agreements in place where if you want to leave the league, it's almost like an expansion fee that it's a buyout clause that you have to pay these leagues to get out if you want to maintain the ownership and the names and all that. So, you know, there's a lot of factors involved with that. Then again, I don't know if the leagues are going to force teams that supposedly can't make money to stay either. So, I mean, there's a whole lot of business parts going on behind the scenes with all this.
As opposed to the IHL, do you think that the Komets found the CHL just to be a much more financially stable league, I guess?
No, I don't think there is such a thing anymore.
Really?
I don't think there is such a thing as a financially stable league. You just got to have people to play. No, I mean, you can look at all the attendances in the basic leagues and multiply their total attendance by $10 each. And that's what their revenue is essentially, and then you throw in the advertising, which could be $1 million to $2 million. All right. Now a CHL budget is probably $2.5 to $4 million. Well, you can figure out pretty easy who's making money and who's not. You can do it with the AHL. It's $5 to $6 million budget, and they're not making any money. I mean, they're all crazy. So it's very simple to look and see who's actually surviving and who isn't. And none of them are, hardly. I mean, there might be 10 teams in all of minor league hockey that are actually on very solid ground. And that doesn't make for any solid league.
In retrospect, looking back at one season, though, was coming to the CHL and doing what the Komets did last offseason, was it the right choice?
Yeah, it was. They needed to do something. You know, people could say they could go to the ECHL. Well, look at their travel. It's no better, no worse. And the ECHL wanted the expansion fee. They were not going to waive the expansion fee, which is $1 million to $2 million depending. And there was no way the Komets were going to pay that. They don't have it. So the CHL waived that, and so that made that a moot point.
Moving forward, as we take a look at some of the player decisions that the Komets are going to face, you know, every offseason you have to look through the contracts and see what works. Given the league is faster, a little bit younger, what are some of the big decisions? Because I know you take a look right off the bat and you say they're going to have to make a decision about Guy Dupuis, they're going to have to make a decision about PC Drouin. You know, they'll be 41 and 37 when the season starts next year. Yeah,
and that's one problem the Frankes have had traditionally is they've always had troubles telling players, you know what, it's time to go. It's time to do something different maybe, to look at other areas of your life. They've always brought guys back to training camp. And then when guys get cut, it just makes some really hard feelings, and it's a very difficult situation. And I could say they don't handle it very well, but I don't know how you do handle that well. Mm-hmm. You know, because the player doesn't want to hear what you have to say if you're saying that you don't want them. They want to be wanted. I mean, they want to go out on their terms. Well, how many of us get to go out on our terms in any form of business or a profession? It just doesn't often work out that way. And it's a very emotional thing because a lot of these guys have not planned well for what they want to do post-hockey. They have no idea. This is all they've ever done. This has been the love of their life. They've done this since they were 3, you know, I mean, and they absolutely love it. And if you absolutely love it, why would you want to stop doing it? That's the hard part. And sometimes it comes to that point where you have to stop. And I'm not saying that that's definitively what's going on with these guys, but I think it's got to be in the discussion. You know, for the Komets to rebuild, they need to free up some salary cap. And one way to do that is to look at some of these older guys.